But South Africa is not significantly far from there, where the SAA, founded in 1934 by the South African government, was the country's iconic national airline. And for 60 years, South African Airways transformed itself into a global brand, but all that seemed to have evaporated. South African Airways has literally fallen off the skies. Or is it? Arabile Gumede is a financial news journalist with vast experiences working a network of radio and television networks in South Africa, and is joining me to have this conversation. So let me just say good evening to Arabile in Johannesburg. Thank you very much for coming through.
Yeah, boys, and thank you so much for having me. Really good to actually have a chat about this. Of course, not great, but certainly a time that we certainly need to discuss it. It's a major airline, and certainly very interesting to get the conversation going.
Yes, so my big first question is if South African Airways is a too big to fail entity.
You know, boys, and I actually think the correct question might even be whether SAA was too big for South Africa's government to save. Because that's what it actually became. It became this big airline that unfortunately we didn't have enough resources for. We continue to plow more and more money into South African Airways in the hopes that it would continue to give some shining light for South Africa in terms of imports, in terms of tourism. Of course, one of the major things that happened in South Africa in year 2018 alone, we had 16.4 million tourists come into South Africa. When the coronavirus broke in South Africa as well, we had a whole host of tourists that needed to be repatriated into other countries. So there are millions of people. And SAA is meant to be that flag carrier, the one element that certainly helps South Africa keep itself on the map, if you want to call it that. Of course, because we're at the southern tip of Africa, it doesn't necessarily make us the great destination the likes of Europe or the Middle East become as well with regards to the travel destinations of the world. But it has become quite interesting that SAA just wanted to be that national carrier. But unfortunately, the maladministration, leadership within the entity, unable to turn it around, a lack as well of political will to turn things around as SAA have certainly not made it easy. So I don't think it was certainly too big to fail, but was certainly too big for government to save anymore.
So do you think the latest rescue plans for the airline will be able to save the airline and continue to make it a going concern and help save some jobs?
Well, right now, we're certainly not going to see SAA currently stand as it looks right now. What has basically happened is that all the unions have agreed that we certainly do need to close SAA as it currently stands. And so SAA will fold effectively. Next week, Tuesday, they're actually going to vote on the business rescue plan. Of course, late last year in December, in fact, SAA was placed under business rescue. So the business rescue practitioners have had a tough time in trying to put together the business rescue plan. That plan will actually be voted on next week, Tuesday. And if it is taken up by creditors, and all likelihood is that it will, then SAA will no longer exist in its current form. But it does mean that we have a new airline that is expected to come on board. What that will look like, though, is going to be very interesting as well. It does save 2,000 jobs, though, from the 5,700 that are at SAA at present. But you can imagine some pilots are going to be walking away with 2 million rand as a package. That's about 46 million naira, Boyson, as well, then, that you could be walking away with if you were a pilot at SAA. If you were a crew member, it's 350,000 rand, around 8 million naira as well. So sizable amounts there.
Yeah, so how does this story pace when you look at the Kenyan Airways on one hand, and you're looking at South African Airways? You're a financial journalist, so I'm sure you begin to see the nationalization of Kenya Airways. Do you think South African Airways will go that way?
Look, it currently is a national carrier, right? So they've certainly nationalized it. The one issue, and the one thing that we've been speaking about for the longest time is the privatization of SAA. And that is the element that I think is going to come through with the new airline that is being brought forward. What they're looking to do is bring an equity partner, or a partner that will be able to help and assist in bringing SAA to bear. We already have an entity like that. It's called Telkom, which provided a sort of a stable network and a telecoms network for the longest time in the country before it was taken over, of course, and a whole lot of other entities made their way ahead of it. But it does mean, though, that SAA will not look the same way.
The way it's been for about 60 years or so. Interesting, Arabile Gumede. Thank you so much. We are business journalists, so we're going to follow this story wherever it goes. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.